It must have been the rain delay and having to race on Sunday because these Truck Series drivers were all over the place. Hello, everybody. My name is Brody. Welcome into the channel. Hope you guys are having a great day. We have some Truck Series racing action to break down from Charlotte Motor Speedway. And this race was certainly a bit all over the map. I mean, we didn't even make it to the actual end of the race because NASCAR called it due to severe weather circumstances. We made 110 laps out of 134. But the racing for which we did see was pretty amazing. There was some crazy restarts and battles for the lead. It was awesome to watch. However, typical Truck Series racing shenanigans, there were a lot of cautions, and so many cautions it broke the record for the most cautions in a Charlotte Motor Speedway Truck Series race, now with 11 as the record, and a shortened race as well, with only 110 laps out of the original 134. So we're going to cover everything that transpired within this race. We'll cover the race winner, how the race winner actually got to victory lane, my drivers of the day. We'll cover the what the F driver of the race. And finally, we'll cover the race results, who had good days, bad days, and end with my final verdict and opinions. And as always, guys, with this race review, with my other race reviews this week and going forward, we will do it in memory of Kyle Busch and sending prayers to the entire Busch family. So let's cover this in memory of Kyle Busch, the Truck Series race from Charlotte. Like I said, this race was cut short, and these drivers were racing to a clock, a timed finish, which certainly raised the urgency of these drivers because we saw so many cautions at the end of this race. And this race did end under caution. The 38 of Chandler Smith got loose off the corner and hit the backstretch wall pretty hard, and that sealed the fate of this race. We couldn't even get going back green after that, and it ended under caution. So kind of a dull finish to this race. I mean, this race was all over the map. I mean, we never really got a true dominating force within this race. There were a few key guys we need to note here. Lane Riggs, Caden Honeycutt, and Christian Eckes were the three most dominant drivers in the race. They ran 1, 2, 3 the majority of the race. However, the longest run, the longest green flag run we had in this race was only 12 laps long. We never got to see the longevity, the drivers managing the tires. We never got to see any of that. It was these short sprints, bursts, and master of the restarts. And the guy emerging victorious through all of this, the master of the restarts, was Lane Riggs in the number 34 for Front Row Motorsports. Congratulations to this entire team and Lane, who was very emotional in his post-race interview, doing the signature Kyle Busch bow in memory of Kyle. It was great to see. It was a pretty dull end to the race, but it was a very feel-good winner. And I think the most dominant driver of the race did end up winning. And it was nice to see a Truck Series regular come back to victory lane and emerge victorious. Lane's stat line was he led 52 laps on the day, which was the most of any driver, so rightfully so. And he gets the most points as well, with 73 points, as he did win stage 2 as well. So, I mean, massive points day for Lane Riggs. He now is second in the points, only 11 points behind the number 11, Caden Honeycutt. So it's going to be a very good battle to the end of this chase for the Cup. So very excited to see that for the Truck Series in its entirety. But once again, congratulations to Lane Riggs. He definitely did earn it. He beat the entire field on every single restart. He was very consistent over the course of the race and did what he needed to do to wind up in victory lane on a Sunday for the truck. So well done, Lane Riggs, Front Row Motorsports. Very good to see. Very happy for that entire race team. Let's begin with my drivers of the day now, starting with the 91 of Christian Eckes, who had the second best truck of this race and had a great day overall, was battling for the podium the entire race long, gets the second most laps led of the day with 33, gets the fastest lap of the race, winds up 6th. He got swallowed up on some restarts at the end with all the chaos. However, he was the second best truck the entire race length and does a great job in the points because he's now third in the overall point standing. So overall, great day for Christian Eckes. Had to give him a driver of the day. Next are a few drivers with great runs overall. Have to give a shout out to Tanner Gray and Daniel Hemrick for battling over the entire course of this race. Tanner Gray was just kind of a non-factor, but found his way into a top 10 finish, finishing an A spot. Well done. Very happy to see that. And Daniel Hemrick was very competitive all race long, but towards the end of the race, again, the restarts were crazy and he got pushed back to 11th spot, but he started 28th, had to make his way all the way forward, did that, was in the top 10 the entire race length, and then eventually got shoved out. But happy for Hemrick, happy for Tanner Gray. And my last driver of the day is Timmy Hill, a feel-good story, getting a top 20 finish, finishing in the 18th spot in the 56 truck. He started 36, made his way forward. Well done, Timmy Hill. That's just a feel-good story overall for getting a top 20 finish. Moving on now to my what the F driver of the race, and it has to be Chris Wright in the 81 for making this egregious move on the front straightaway, essentially clearing himself 3 lanes down, moving all the way to the top lane, taking out Butterbean Queen in the process, clearing himself 3 lanes down, take himself out and the 12 car. What are we doing? That was completely egregious and no fault of anyone but Chris Wright. That was completely ridiculous. I feel super bad for Brendan Queen because you have to expect some kind of racecraft from your competitors around you. You cannot predict that. You cannot expect that. That was just horrible racing, horrible maneuver right there. Cars that should not be taken out were taken out. That is just very unfortunate for all parties involved, especially the 12 of Brendan Queen and Chris Wright. I don't know what that was. That was not good. Out of all the cautions we saw this race, that was the most egregious by far and very disappointing to see. So, has to be my what the F driver of the race. Let's take a look at your race results now. Here is your top 10. Kane Honeycutt in the number 11 led 0 laps today, but I think was in the top 5, the most consistent out of any other driver. No laps led, but was super consistent overall, just adding to his points lead. Very good to see overall. Connor Zilic had a very topsy-turvy day, had to start 24th. Wasn't originally supposed to even run this race. I think Carson Hocevar was supposed to run this truck, but Zilic stepped in last minute, started 24th, made his way forward, had a restart violation late in the race, makes his way all the way back up to finish 3rd. Great job, Connor Zilic. Ben Rhodes, Gio Ruggiero, great runs in 4th and 5th overall. Gio Ruggiero had some contact in the race with Corey Day, which just set off a very bad wreck, and I'll get to that when I get to Corey Day, but that was just horrible to see. And Brandon Jones, O'Reilly Series regular, he was very competitive all race long. Happy to see that. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and William Sawalich, a couple of O'Reilly Series regular and Cup Series regular. Good to see overall. Good finishes in 9th and 10th, respectively. The highest finishing Ram was Corey LaJoy in the 12th spot, just kind of where these Rams typically finish in the 22nd to 10th place range. That's always kind of where they finish and where they run. And he winds up in 12th spot. So not a horrible day for Ram standards. SVG actually spun early in this race all by himself. That's how sketchy these trucks were during this race. Even SVG couldn't handle it and spun out. So he finishes 15th. So not horrible. Grant Enfinger was pretty competitive during this race. Just got behind on strategy and finishes 16th. Other notables here, Travis Pastrana made the start in the 25 for Ram, started 29th, finishes 21st, was just out there having a good time. I mean, you can't expect him to run top 10, but he was out there wheeling and dealing like he is, bringing the energy. It was good to see. Happy for Travis Pastrana getting the start. Thorsport Racing had more mechanical issues as Cole Butcher and Ty Majeski had to go under the hood during this race and was never the same, and they both wind up outside the top 25, so not very good to see there. Ross Chastain finishes 29th spot, but was very competitive throughout the course of this race. Had a tire go down late in the race, so no fault of his own, just unfortunate, winds up 29th. Not very good finish. Chandler Smith, like I mentioned, finishes 30th. He crashed on the back straightaway, which brought out the last caution, which ended the race. Unfortunately, not good for the 38 in the point standings, however. Brendan Queen winds up 32nd, Chris Wright 31st. Not great for both of those guys. Ty Majeski, like I mentioned for ThorSport, winds up in the 33rd spot. Mini Tyrell was also involved in an early crash, takes him out. He finishes 34th. And let's get now to Corey Day. The Corey Day incident, it was so unfortunate. He started out on pole, and I really wanted him to win the race. I mean, I want him to win the race for Kyle, for the entire Spire Motorsports 7 team. It just didn't work out. I don't think Spire Motorsports had the fastest trucks today, anyways, but you could tell Corey Day was really trying his hardest to make anything happen with the 7 truck and was just pushing a bit too hard. And on the back straightaway, Giro makes an attempt to go to his inside. As that's happening, Corey Day moves down to block and essentially gets spun out and lifts off the ground. And it was very scary because as he's lifting off the ground, the inside wall is approaching and it looks like he's about to flip over the wall. Something made that truck settle down, and maybe it was Kyle Busch, I don't know, but forces brought that car back down, and it was very thankful to see that because that could have been very scary, very very scary. It sets back down, hard impact though. Driver's side, Corey Day was fine, but it was very unfortunate to see that 7 truck crash like that, and it made my heart break a little bit. But Corey Day, he tried his best and was really pushing that truck, even though I don't think it was that fast of a truck. So definitely not winning speed, but Corey Day is fine. Glad he's okay, and glad that didn't turn out to be more of a incident because we already have had enough incidents this week for the NASCAR community. So, anyways, that's gonna wrap up the race results. Let's cover my final opinions now. Taking a look at this race from an overall perspective, I think the racing itself was super great, super competitive. The restarts were hectic, they were chaotic. The draft plays such a huge role in these trucks getting momentum and runs and maneuvering in all sorts of different lanes, at the wall, at the paint on the bottom. It was great to see. However, there were so many cautions which ruined the flow of the race. I mean, only got brief sprint after sprint after sprint. Never got to see long run pace and longevity and taking care of the tires. We never got to see any of that because there were so few racing laps to be had, which was unfortunate. And we also end under caution, which I guess was fitting for how this race was going, with there being so many cautions. But I think the racing itself, the racing we did see, was super, super great. Other notables, I think the broadcast was a big improvement with Eric Brennan doing the play-by-play call instead of Jamie Little. Loved hearing that. Regan Smith was also good, and Michael Waltrip is Michael Waltrip. But other than that, I think the racing was super good and the broadcast was super good. So that's going to do it for me, guys. Hope you did enjoy. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments of this video, of this race. If this is your first time ever at this channel, please consider subscribing, checking out all the content I have, NASCAR related, motorsport related. You will find it all here. I post Truck Series race reviews, O'Reilly Series race reviews, Cup Series race reviews, NASCAR news and discussions and gradings and rankings and whatever it may be. You will find it here on this channel. Join the NASCAR community, for which we are growing. Hope you guys did enjoy. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video. And as always, guys, I'll leave you with this. Hope you have a great, wonderful, and even splendid rest of your day. See ya.